My name is Erica Lorraine Spencer, and I remain subject to state surveillance and terrorism by the state of California that is operating a malicious targeting system which is referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices. And it is in violation of federal stalking statute 18 U.S.C. sections 2261A subsections 1 and 2. My website and podcast serve the public good by publishing evidence of the public entity's ceaseless engagement in a pattern of conduct intended to stalk and monitor via communication devices, surveil, harass, and terrorize an American citizen in concert with the people of the state of California. Documentation serves the lawful purposes of wide exposure, federal prosecution, and influencing federal legislation with policies specifically designed to punish, dismantle, and disincentivize an unprecedented targeting system by a public entity that acts in concert with the people of the state in order to criminally place under surveillance and terrorize an American citizen, which is a matter of public corruption in the state of California. Notice: intellectual property theft is particularly egregious and equally unlawful where the sole inventor and creator of the intellectual property is the targeted individual. Erica Lorraine Spencer, subject to the unconstitutional and inhumane government system of gang stalking, otherwise referred to as federal group stalking and monitoring via communication devices, because of which the intellectual property created by the targeted individual, who is, in fact, Erica Lorraine Spencer, as the intellectual property also proves, serves to establish via evidence and expose the existence of criminal surveillance and thus an inherent threat posed by the U.S. government and the civilian population sharing engagement in the unlawful system. Such evidence, that includes all of the content created by Erica Lorraine Spencer, images, videos, audio, etc., belongs solely and entirely to Erica Lorraine Spencer only and is necessarily published online in order to protect her life, safety, and liberty as the targeted individual, who is also the intellectual property owner, no less protected from theft procured through targeting by a public entity. Theft of any intellectual property belonging to Erica Lorraine Spencer, which is necessarily committed while she, being both creator and inventor, remains oppressed by the public entity via criminal surveillance, is a criminal and inhumane means of infringement under all circumstances and not protected nor enforceable pursuant to any invalid or fraudulent acts of copyright, trademarks, patents, etc., including as it pertains to any ideas associated with or generated from the intellectual property or the intellectual property owner, Erica Lorraine Spencer, whether creative, business, or otherwise, nor does the intellectual property owner consent to any such means of infringement and theft. It's Thursday, July 24, 2025. As you'll see on the Google Drive, I've been maintaining a PDF document in order to prosecute the corrupt businesses of the establishment, which is Economy Inn, that is gang stalking. They're maintaining the fake sun over the venue while maintaining the ongoing sensational methods of activity in doing so while the fake sun is over the venue. And while the people of the state, a population of demons, are stalking on the 60 freeway, which is the interstate, the roads and the highways where the entity are engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring. This is mental illness that is shown to be shared by a population. This is the special needs status that is exposed while a demon-possessed population is engaged in stalking one person, subject to a targeting system that the state of California is engaging in. Okay, and it is evident through what is the proof of what is a fake sun that remains over me, and I currently remain at Economy Inn, where it's legally relevant. This entity already committed kidnapping in 2020. They are still engaged in state surveillance and ongoing surveillance. You'll remember the video that I captured yesterday, which was July 23rd, in my hotel room, where you're seeing engineer light trailing across the ceiling, and it's a covered structure outside, and the fake sun is above. So I want to be clear, the fake sun has nothing to do with the impossible light that's trailing across my ceiling inside of the room. That's called stalking with impossible light. This is what the demon possessed have been doing. This is what I've been noting in the Economy Inn-the People PDF document that's uploaded, and I'm continuously updating it, just like I did at Woodside Senior Apartments, and the entities engaging in the pattern of conduct while stalking you inside of an apartment. This is gang stalking inside of a hotel room. And this is what the entity has been doing, creating the same activity as there are when the gang stalking housekeepers are rolling their carts. The entity is engaged in the same method of creation when there's no housekeeping going on right now, okay? That's understanding the plane activity that you hear has nothing to do with the plane that you see. The helicopter activity that you hear has nothing to do with the helicopter that you see. This is the demon-possessed population that are engaged in gang stalking, while the demon-possessed use what they have at their disposal to engage in the same exact demonic methods of targeting while you're being monitored by the demon possessed in the demonic environment, where you will have what is a fake sun remaining over one venue for 12 hours, like Economy N does, and where you are going to be documented by license plate, by address, by the place of business where you are remaining criminally on behalf of the government, and doing so in reliance on the maintenance of that system. This is where the entity is gang stalking. So I'm going to go ahead and capture video right now. This is the housekeeping I'm capturing. Right now she is monitoring. The entity is maintaining. You can see her, she's ducking and diving, going underneath the staircase. I've already captured all the video documentation of the gang stalking demons who are engaging in the pattern of conduct of stalking while they're rolling their carts. They're doing so in engineer light. So what you see here at the end of the hallway, that's a demon that's monitoring. That's not sunlight, that's underneath the covered structure. The light activity of the staircase, you're understanding the special needs who are monitoring my vagina as well, knowing everything that I'm doing, including what I'm uploading on the internet, while they're surrounding the path, and it includes the employees of Economy N. That's impossible light activity while gang stalking patrons are sharing in the criminal pattern of conduct. This is the criminal prosecution of federal RICO case of corrupt business practices of demons that are monitoring. You see the shadow, that's light activity crossing the path. When they're walking, they're creating earthquakes inside of my room, which is also a demonic name of targeting. It's supernatural, as supernatural as that demon's light activity that's created while they are stalking in the path. The entity is engaging in this under what is the fake sun, okay? This is the fake sun that's over the same roof that it is at 9:30 in the morning, where the housekeeping is engaged in the pattern of conduct. I'm going to document her license plate. The entity that's engaging in this pattern of conduct is engaged in gang stalking as a means of employment. Gang stalking immigrants are being deported, okay? I've already documented her before, so I'm going to go ahead and get it on the record. Impossible light is all over her car as she opens the trunk, as she opens the car door. She's monitoring. She's also doing so under the fake sun. This is indeed the entity that is employing gang stalking immigrants at the venue, okay? She's working under the fake sun, and she's stalking, engaging in surveillance all day long, calling it housekeeping. License 9MBP997. Alrighty? Alrighty, I'm capturing another video now because I'm going to show you not only is this light activity while the demons are inside of hotel room stalking. This is my shadow appearing above my head in the shade. This is all stalking. And you know that because the fake sun is over this hotel where it's present at 7 in the morning, where the city of Ontario's gang stalking by helicopter and commercial planes. That's a lot of resources, a lot of manpower, a lot of corruption to use planes and helicopters attributed to the government and businesses of an airport to engage in criminal surveillance, and it also costs a lot of money. Okay, the entity is doing so while the people of the state are demons, checking out, paying money to keep me under surveillance by stalking in hotel rooms. And this is a sex offender been monitoring my vagina while they're crossing path. They're stalking in the path right here. They're monitoring me. They're under the fake sun in the parking lot, and they're sharing in federal stalking. They're listening to everything that I'm stating right now. These are gang stalking males monitoring my vagina. License plate 09174L3, gang stalking with the employees at Economy N. The demons are monitoring while they're walking past my room. The blinds are closed, okay? And this is the shaded structure. And the entities, these are demons that are in the same way stalking with impossible lights. Let me show you this. Impossible light is existing right there. Another iteration of the same demonic pattern of conduct, torturing and psychologically torturing, harassing, and terrorizing while you're engaged in surveillance on communication devices, while you're stalking in the path under things like the fake sun and an engineer light, like that manifests out of nowhere. Shadow, impossible light activity is occurring inside of the room while demons are walking by, and impossible light is appearing on the floor while the door is closed, while they're doing things such as stalking like the people that they just demonstrated on video. The gang stalking housekeeper, whose license plate is documented on video, if she's not a natural born citizen, she's going to be deported. The entity is gang stalking by residents. All the people of the state living in these trailers are monitoring. And the evidence of their criminal monitoring is also proven through the impossible maintenance of the sun over this hotel, where you're not only gang stalking as a corrupt business, you are gang stalking as a statewide pattern of conduct. The people of the state are also demons on the roads and the highways. They know exactly who I am and what I'm doing, including what's going on with my vagina inside of this hotel room, where the entity keeps a fake sun from 7 a.m. until 7. All right, you are sharing the pattern of conduct where you're looking at this impossible light activity. This is what the demons are doing while I'm on Google right now, and I'm uploading videos, and they are stalking. This is the evidence of stalking by the government. The government is gang stalking through the corrupt business practice. This is a federal RICO case against businesses like Economy N. Every business in California is engaged in state surveillance. As I've shown, the P.O.C. of the government that's engaged in gang stalking, and this is the supernatural maintenance of life that's manifesting in the shade. That's what's happening inside of my hotel room as well. This is where you're gang stalking as housekeeping, you're gang stalking as patrons, you're gang stalking as sex offenders that are hiding inside of hotel rooms where there's no mystery, there's no anonymity, and there's also no constitutional protection. All right, the entity is under what is impossible activity, stalking the path. This is stalking you, making sure you're covered at every angle. And here's the fake sun in the same position it is at 9:30 in the morning, by the way. This is where I'm standing. I'm standing here at 9:30 in the morning, and I'm capturing the fake sun. The fake sun moves as I move and remains over one building. Everybody is gang stalking in this environment. The entity is engaging this P.O.C. with regard to sex offenders of all genders, monitoring your genitalia. This is the evidence of stalking by the government. This is the government doing so in concert with the people of the state, and this is also demons who are engaging in that pattern of conduct. The impossible light is up there for purposes of stalking, and the entity, males and females, are sex offenders monitoring, paying for hotel rooms to engage in stalking. That's how important I am. That's how much of a sex offender the people of the state are, the special needs population. Okay? The entity's engaging in this. This is where the fake sun is at 7 in the morning. They're stalking. Okay? It's a population that's sharing an obsessive criminal conduct, obsessed with my genitalia, obsessed with everything about me, obsessed with what it is that I do, my every physical movement, and their mental illness is also exhibited while they do that, and they want to appear as though they're doing something else, and there's nothing persuasive about it. This is P.O.C. This is the same sex offender that was gang stalking yesterday while I was documenting Alan San Victoris, and this demon engages in the P.O.C. by emptying out the garbage under the fake sun. All right, heavily engaged in P.O.C. by working with management, gang stalking at this venue. This is surveillance, criminal business practices. This is the federal RICO case against the government that's gang stalking through the in reliance upon the people of the state who are corrupt, who are engaging in what is demonic activity, and it's criminal surveillance. And an entire population is monitoring a woman inside of a hotel room and monitoring my vagina as well, and engaging into what is terrorism while they have the fake sun over the same venue that it's over at 7 o'clock in the morning. I want to be clear, this is the evidence that is serving for the disbanding of the Ontario Police Department. The Ontario Police is being disbanded, okay? And everybody that the Ontario Police Department committed kidnappings with, like Tracy Banks, on behalf of gang stalkers like Jason Isaac Fields, defaming my character, they're going to federal prison, okay? This is the very foolish provision of evidence, and the entity is engaging with its high level of malice while they're gang stalking with immigrants that I've never met, and you don't have to know the demons' names in order to prosecute them through the clearly malicious and targeting conduct, the pattern of conduct by those that are surrounding in all of methods of stalking and the path. The entity was keeping the fake sun at the opposite end of the hotel when I was at that end. The entity's keeping it over here now, where the same demon in room number 244 is 240 is gang stalking, engaging in federal stalking at all hours of night, okay? It is currently 5:05 p.m. Remember that the entity is gang stalking at Town Place Suites by Marriott, where there's no shared presence of the sun that's documented remaining over me at that hotel in Monrovia, and also never is the sun going to stay over one address. This is where you're understanding stalking by a whole population. The city of Monrovia, the Monrovia Police Department, under the corrupt and dangerous leadership of Alan San Victoris, now Harvey, is engaging in the P.O.C. just like the Ontario Police who are being disbanded. And they're engaging in sexual violence by keeping me under surveillance as I went from hotel to hotel, monitoring my vagina, in other words, from hotel to hotel. And on the roads and the highways, the sun did not stay idle over one building, as though these are not demons and that they're not targeting, that they're not stalking me by specific knowledge. But the entity kept the fake sun over my vehicle as I drove from city to city, and documented the fake sun over my sunroof, over me as I traveled on the roads and the highways, and the people in the state were gang stalking on the freeways as I went from hotel to hotel, which is what is published online on YouTube already, where Economy N is engaging in that P.O.C. with its customers. This is the racketeering. This is the criminal case against all of the businesses in California, like Starbucks, that I'm going to civilly and criminally prosecute. That's what Economy N is maintaining. Okay, it's currently 5:06 p.m. The entity is monitoring the videos that I'm uploading. I will be publishing onto YouTube, and that's what the demons are going in a berserk, are acting in a frenzied state for. Stalking with impossible light activity inside of my room, under a covered structure, through closed blinds, which you already know that they're stalking with light, they're stalking under a fake sun, and I'm documenting in a PDF document that's uploaded to the Google Drive. The entity is going to be subject to a civil and criminal prosecution. It's the business that's going to be prosecuted and the gang stalking people of the state who are gang stalking as employees and as customers, which shows the special needs status, the extent to which demons who are mentally ill, how desperate, how sexually perverted, how extreme, and how far they will go to engage in stalking one person, okay? And it's all evidence that's putting people like Tracy Banks, Eric Gordon Spencer, every other third party whose name I know that defamed my character while gang stalking me in an effort to steal my property. They're going to federal prison. Okay, this is the system that they're engaging in while using a secret conservatorship and targeting me by keeping property a secret from me and conspiring my death and kidnapping. They're going to federal prison as surely as these fools providing a wealth of obvious evidence against the totality of that system. It is again 5:07 p.m. This is P.O.C. It's relevant to federal stalking, Title 18, and they're doing so pursuant to what is harassment. Walking outside is not going to cause my mattress to vibrate. Walking outside is not going to cause any sort of light activity. I'm not going to see your shadow moving across the window. The door closure is not going to cause any sort of light activity on the floor inside. This is all methods of stalking with light. In the same way that light activity on that wall is a method of stalking with light. Driving in the parking lot under the 12-hour fake sun over this venue is a method of stalking with light. Maintaining the 60 fluid while a population is patrolling, those are demons, that's stalking with light. And they're all together engaging in massive surveillance in California. All right, this is P.O.C. It is currently 5:08 p.m. All right, you're listening to me capture video relevant to what like I stated, I've been documenting all day long in writing, if you will, and documenting the entity that's engaged in ongoing harassment. This is, again, the demons that don't have any control, self-control. The reason why I speak about that is not only to let you know that the demon-possessed are special needs and that they're mentally ill, but it's also because they're going to be facing a federal case in court. They being the government. They being subject to what is an entity is going to be subject to what is evidence that is not under any circumstances only existing in the imagination of any American citizen on whose behalf I'm advocating, while I am somebody that has already established the psychopathic pattern of conduct of the demon-possessed. So when I say impossible light activity is happening inside of my room in an inexplicable manner, in a supernatural manner, you know exactly what I mean. I've already established that pattern of conduct. All I did was step outside and get video right now. The entity is gang stalking, and the gang stalking immigrants that can't not even speak my language and my country are engaging what are terrorizing me and sexually violating me with the government, okay, that has permitted them to be in this country. And I want to be clear, that's a basis of revocation of the privilege to be here. And it doesn't matter how old you are and how long you've been here. The entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct while I'm uploading videos, and the entity that lacks self-control, that's what's relevant because it's to their own demise. The demon-possessed that are not able to exercise self-control with regard to gang stalking, perhaps you shouldn't do as much so that you're not so frequently documented. So, I mean, justice is going to be provided regardless, but I want to be clear, there is no question with regard to deportation being a matter of justice. There's no question with regard to federal prison for kidnapping as an entity being required as a matter of justice. There is no question with regard to disbanding kidnapping police departments that are gang stalking as a matter of justice. There is no question, no reasonable question to deny justice by prosecution of domestic terrorists engaging in such gang violence that federal group stalking entails with regard to being prosecuted as domestic terrorism and being maintained by the Department of Justice to identify sex offenders, to identify domestic terrorists like the people of the state in California that I'm documenting. Gang stalking a woman in a hotel room in the most obvious and absurd and asinine manners. The light activity you clearly see, they're a light activity which your understanding is monitoring, and the demon-possessed that lack self-control. They have no level of reasoning skills. They have no level of intelligence. They have no plan for the future. They're only focused on right now, monitoring right now. And this is evidence that they're monitoring, and it's going into federal court. You're going to look look at it, you're going to look at them clearly engaging what is domestic terrorism, psychological torture, ongoing invasion of privacy as a government program, and psychological torture while they're stalking on video in the engineer light under the 12-hour fake sun while you're documenting the evidence in real time. It's showing a level of impunity that is not going to be tolerated by the federal government, that's going to respond to the governments, the state governments that are targeting American citizens. Those demons, those special needs defendants that are lacking in that self-control are going to be prosecuted to the furthest extent of the law, which is necessary for such maniacal behaviors, okay? And this is exposing sex offenders that are indeed obsessed with my vagina. And this is why they are triggered also at the same time and then engaging in more obviously incriminating conduct like flying over me at the hotel that has the fake sun in the same position that it is at 9:30 in the morning. Very incriminating, and then doing so while I'm at the same time referring to your criminal acts of targeting me. This is the entity that's, again, damaging its own interests, which they don't have a case in court. There is nothing other than success for me. Clearly, this is what's going to happen. The entity is in providing what is a way for you to identify the threat and the unmistakable identification of a very specific population who serves Satan. They are demon-possessed. They are the walking dead. They are zombies. They're already hollowed out. They're not normal human beings. These are not people you're dealing with. You're dealing with the spirit of Satan. You're dealing with the spirit of Satan that will commit murder, that will rape your children, that will kidnap you and try to torture you, that will steal your property, try to accuse you of egregious acts that you have nothing to do with. This is what the demon-possessed practice. Okay, all-out criminal conduct, lawlessness, and no common sense, no logic behind it. The entity has been engaged in the pattern of conduct, and the corruption of the government is the only thing that would allow this level of idiocy to continue. So now it's both the idiocy and the corruption of the government which is required to have this level of criminal conduct that makes no logical sense. The public corruption, the corruption of the government is necessary for this to ever exist because the entity that is demon-possessed is highly unintelligent and highly incapable. Okay, they're not capable at all. They are literally baboons, and they are engaging criminal conduct on video. It's like being on surveillance camera with no mask on, with providing, literally having your name on your forehead so that the feds see your identity, see who you are. They know exactly who you are and where to go get you and know exactly everything that you committed. Those are the demons that are gang stalking. This is what they're doing under the fake sun and an engineer light, stalking at a hotel whose business is wrapped up in gang stalking, who are already documented as kidnappers and being foolish enough, potentially immigrants, gang stalking, and through a corrupt business in the city of Ontario. That's how foolish and that's how obvious it is. And this is also a clear route to justice. And this is only understanding economy. And the entity is gang stalking as a statewide pattern of conduct. All right. So this is giving context about what I've been documenting all day long. And by the way, just to be clear, when I've already captured the impossible light as a pattern of conduct, it is not reasonable, nor is that the case that you're making up the fact that the entity is stalking while they're walking by my room and impossible light activities occurring inside of my room while you're walking outside of my room. You're walking by outside of my room and it's creating a mini earthquake that's exclusive to me, shaking and vibrating my mattress. That's speaking to targeting while you are aware of and are thereby engaging in surveilling what I'm doing on the internet. And I just am always engaged in what is documentation. So these are the demons that are not only engaged in criminal summoning, criminal summoning. They're not only engaged in criminal monitoring, which is surveillance, but they're engaged in what is monitoring evidence against the defendant. The defendant is interfering with the federal case against itself. The defendant is full of what are immigrants in California that are subject to deportation. The defendant is full of a pool of defendants that are a part of corrupt police departments, fire departments, a corrupt airport where the city is engaged in surveillance, public officials that are engaging in this, and defendants that are a part of the pool of defendants that are specifically identified with conspiring to steal property that belongs to me, money that belongs to me, doing so in reliance on calculating that gang stalking is going to create some sort of substantiation of defamation, and it's not. It's speaking to what was the motivation and what was the method, what was the plan. This idiocy was the plan. This is what the demon-possessed relied on, and you're going to federal prison for that. They're gang stalking in the court, which is a facilitating venue, while they defame me pertaining to property that was never disclosed to me. Everything that's happening in that courtroom is pursuant to criminal monitoring. It's literally audible activity that is defamatory, libelous, while it's concerning what is my character that is being maligned for purposes of theft that the government is engaging in while it's engaging in what is criminal surveillance, as though they have jurisdiction over your person or property. And they do not. The gang stalking judges sitting on the bench are engaging in that criminal pattern of conduct. The demons that are gang stalking in the court hearings that have been maintained a secret from me for the purpose of defaming me behind my back while I'm every day for years documenting the pattern of conduct that I remain subject to, facing kidnapping after kidnapping, okay? While the entities engaging in this pattern of conduct, the Ontario Police Department is being disbanded. Okay, the entities engaging in this P.O.C. and the inability to control oneself when you are already proven on the internet to be engaging in an unprecedented, never before proven criminal system as a government operation, and you still don't have any self-control. This is what you are recognizing as the warning, the threat of the mentally ill who are demon-possessed. Okay, the entities engaging in this, and with regard to my prosecution, civilly and criminally, it is justice, all right, to the fullest extent of the law. But you need to understand the level of mental instability of those that are engaging in this criminal conduct throughout the country, okay? And they are identified under the fake sun, which is remaining over you, okay? Because the sun that's remaining over Economy Inn now, and it's no longer remaining over Woodside Senior Apartments, because there's only one son. So you're going to prosecute the demon-possessed, the special needs population with the illusion that they create around the one that they're stalking. There's only one son, and if it's remaining over Economy Inn from sunrise until sunset, which is a matter of documentation because Satan is a liar, and Satan is acting via the state of California that's gang stalking me, then pray tell, what was remaining over Woodside Senior Apartments while I'm inside of Tracy Banks' apartment? What is the cause of all of the light, the illuminated light inside of her apartment while the fake sun is documented over my head? How is this the case, and how would it ever be at the same time? This is speaking to the environment that is conducive to criminal monitoring while you're conspiring to defame my character, to steal property that belongs to me. And in my documentation, this pedophile engages in what is harassment and domestic terrorism, criminal summoning, and defamation because she is being documented as the sex offender, as the psychopath that she is. And then behind the scenes, don't forget that she's also stealing my intellectual property and profiting from it. This intellectual property that I'm creating to prosecute. Okay, so you are witnessing mental illness when you are looking at the big picture, the forest of everything that the entity, including Tracy Banks, Jason Isaac Fields, Eric Coy Spencer have committed. Defaming me in courts, defaming me in my documentation, defaming me with the entity that it's kidnapping me with, like the Ontario Police Department, like the gang stalking medical professionals that don't have any legal relationship to me, manufactured relationship while they were kidnapping me and made up information therein. Engaging in what is defaming me in literally while I'm documenting them at the same time, but at the same time they're using that same intellectual property to profit from it behind my back. That's understanding mental illness by the demon-possessed that are surrounding you. Satan is a spirit. He will use your family. He will use your friends. He will use your professors, your colleagues, your peers, your church members. They say Jesus with their mouth. But the Bible says that you know them not by what they profess, but by their deeds. Okay? And it's nothing other than audible activity. When you're serving Satan, when you're targeting the Holy Spirit, which is not what Christ Jesus, the children of God, are doing. You're not gang stalking when you know Christ. You're not using witchcraft when you know Christ. You don't rely on that. And there are people out here that do not know the Lord and that are out false teachers, stating that you're both a Christian and you also use witchcraft. And you also rely on voodoo. Only when you get mad. Okay, these are deceptive doctrines and they are out of the pit of hell. And it's not until you are facing the all-righteous judge himself when he says, "Depart from me, you workers of iniquity, I never knew you." His word is very, very clear. And this pattern of conduct is speaking to those who are not just fallen, not those that know Christ and they're having a bad day and maybe they haven't been reading the Bible as much as they should know. These are demon-possessed people that do not know Christ Jesus. They walk with Satan. They are already hollowed out. They're gone. They're in darkness. They're going straight to hell when they die, if they do not repent. But they are in darkness now. No Christian, no a Christ-knowing follower, no disciple of Christ is gang stalking. It's demonic activity. And it's criminal conduct that I'm prosecuting. All right, so I want to be clear. You heard that video documentation. That is the gang stalker. I just want to be clear. That's 45 rooms here. And that's assuming that all 45 rooms are occupied. I've been remaining in these rooms. These demons don't even clean them. They don't change the pillowcases. They do not thoroughly clean the floors. So pray tell, what is it that you're taking 8 hours to do all day long? Because it's certainly not actually cleaning the rooms. The rooms that are filled with impossible light activity, the rooms that are underneath the fake sun, the rooms that are adjacent to me when all manner of what is sensational activities
occurring inside of my room. It's a basis of surveillance, and gang stalking immigrants doing so under the guise of calling it housekeeping are going to be deported all the same. All right, it's the P.O.C. It's currently 5:21 p.m. This is what I've been documenting all day long. And the bigger picture is that this is exposing the entire state of California that is a sex offender, monitoring American citizens over and under the age of majority, okay, in places where you live, like I'm documenting in my apartment home in LA, in my hotel rooms as I travel throughout Southern California, while I'm kidnapped inside of facilitating venues, and the gang stalking police, the gang stalking sheriff's departments, the gang stalking courthouses are demons who are engaging in this pattern of conduct under the exact same circumstances. This is where an entity is engaging in the pattern of conduct on the roads and the highways, gang stalking on the freeways, which is a threat to your life while you're in operation of a dangerous machine, which the entity is. That's why they're gang stalking in the first place. There's no accidents when the pattern of conduct is underway amongst the system of surveillance. The big picture is always remaining in perspective when I'm documenting the demons that don't have any self-control, gang stalking at economy. And don't forget about that. After 5 p.m., you are looking at what I documented at 7:16 in the morning. The fake sun is over the same hotel. You're looking at what I documented at 9:30 in the morning, where the fake sun is over the same hotel and the entity that's gang stalking directly and vicariously. This is P.O.C. It's 5:20.